The grocery store was alive with its usual rhythm, carts rolling down aisles, the distant murmur of customers chatting, and the steady beeping of registers processing purchases. But among the routine hum of daily life, something was about to happen, something that no one in that store would forget. Harold, an elderly black cashier, had worked at this store for decades. He had watched the place change over the years, seen customers come and go, trained dozens of employees, and built a reputation as one of the kindest, most patient workers the store had ever known. To him, this wasn't just a job, it was a place where he took pride in serving his community. He had seen all types of customers, dealt with difficult people, and always remained professional. But that day was different. The moment she walked in, the atmosphere shifted. She was a middle-aged woman, dressed in expensive clothes, her short blonde hair perfectly styled. Her heels clicked sharply against the tile floor as she scanned the checkout lanes. At first, her face was neutral, but the second her eyes landed on Harold, her expression hardened. She hesitated. Her fingers gripped the cart handle a little tighter. It was as if she was debating whether to turn around. Then, with a deep breath, she rolled her cart forward, right into Harold's line. He greeted her the same way he greeted every customer, with warmth and kindness. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Did you find everything you needed today?" She didn't answer. She didn't even acknowledge him. Instead, she turned her head sharply, her eyes locking onto the store manager standing a few feet away. And then, in a voice loud enough for nearly everyone in the front of the store to hear, she declared, "I want someone else to check me out. I don't want him touching my things." Before we continue, take a moment to ask yourself, what would you do in this situation? If you believe in fairness, in standing up for what's right, and in calling out injustice when you see it, then this is the kind of story that needs to be heard. And you can help make that happen. By subscribing to this channel, you're not just watching another video, you're becoming part of a community that values respect, kindness, and justice. These real-life moments remind us that silence allows discrimination to thrive, but standing up makes all the difference. So, if you believe that every person deserves to be treated with dignity, hit that subscribe button right now. Give this video a like to help more people see it, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Have you ever witnessed something like this? What would you have done? Let's talk about it. Now, let's get back to what happened next, because the store manager's response. No one saw it coming. The air in the store froze. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. The rhythmic beeping of registers seemed to pause. Customers standing nearby turned their heads in disbelief. A mother holding her child instinctively pulled them closer. A young couple exchanged a look of shock. An elderly man standing near the dairy section shook his head in disgust. Harold, despite the clear insult, remained calm. His hands rested lightly on the counter, his face unreadable, though a flicker of hurt passed through his eyes. He had lived through times when this kind of prejudice wasn't just accepted, it was expected. He had worked too hard, come too far, to let one woman's ignorance break him. Before we continue, if stories like this make you reflect, take a second to subscribe to the channel. These real-life moments show us the best, and worst, of human nature. And your support helps share these lessons with the world. If you believe in fairness and standing up for what's right, hit that like button, and stay with us until the end, because this story is far from over. The store manager, Mr. Thompson, was a tall man in his 40s, known for his strong leadership and unwavering principles. He had worked with Harold for years and respected him deeply. The moment he heard the woman's words, his jaw tightened. He had dealt with difficult customers before, but this was something else. He walked toward the register, his eyes steady, his voice calm but firm. "Ma'am, is there a problem?" She turned to face him, lifting her chin. "Yes. I want another cashier. I don't want him handling my groceries." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. A teenage boy standing in line muttered, "No way," under his breath. A few other customers shook their heads in disbelief. Mr. Thompson inhaled slowly. His eyes flickered to Harold, who simply waited. Then, with an expression as cold as steel, he looked back at the woman and said something no one expected. "No, ma'am. If you refuse service from Harold, then you refuse service from this store." The woman's face turned red. "Excuse me," she snapped, as if she hadn't heard him correctly. "You heard me," Mr. Thompson said, his voice even but firm. "Harold is one of our best employees. If you can't treat him with the same respect as anyone else, then we will not serve you." A wave of murmurs rippled through the store. A few people nodded in agreement. Others exchanged looks of approval. The woman scoffed, shaking her head as if she couldn't believe what was happening. "This is unacceptable. I've been shopping here for years. And Harold has been working here even longer," Mr. Thompson countered. "So here's your choice, let him ring up your groceries, or take your business elsewhere." Silence. For a long moment, the woman just stood there, mouth slightly open, her face contorted in frustration. She wasn't used to being told no. She wasn't used to being held accountable. Then, with a final dramatic scoff, she turned on her heel, yanked her cart backward, and stormed toward the exit. The automatic doors slid open, and within seconds, she was gone, leaving behind her groceries and a store full of people who had just witnessed something powerful. At first, there was only silence. Then, slowly, one person began clapping. Then another. And another. Until the entire front of the store was filled with applause. Harold chuckled softly, shaking his head. He reached for the next customer's items and smiled. "Well," he said with a knowing glint in his eye. "Guess I should have told her to have a nice day while she could still hear me." Laughter rippled through the line. The tension lifted, the mood shifted, and just like that, the store moved on. But something had changed that day. A standard had been set, disrespect and prejudice had no place here. This story is a reminder that standing up against discrimination is not just about speaking out, it's about setting a precedent. It's about making it clear that prejudice will not be tolerated. It only takes one person to take a stand, but it inspires so many more to do the same. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever witnessed something like this? If you were in that store, what would you have done? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you believe in fairness, kindness, and taking a stand, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories that challenge and inspire. Thank you for watching. And remember, the world doesn't change by staying silent. See you in the next video.